Okay, first road trip in the Tesla. Directions to El Paso. This is our Model Y. We've had it for over a year, never done a longer road trip. I've got the place packed out with some gear back there, even a mat to sleep on, and I'm terrified. I'm sort of scared, but I'm excited. I'm driving across the country from Texas, from Austin, out to San Diego and San Francisco. So I drove my Tesla across the country and back. Here's what I learned. Number one, you're gonna need to charge it. I can't tell you how much I have loved this Tesla. It has changed my entire relationship with driving. The way that it merges onto the freeway, smoothness, the acceleration, the decentness of everything inside. It really is quite spacious, especially here in the back where you have this moon roof and then these back seats sort of recline, they move forwards and backwards. And there's a third row seat back here, which is very small. You can only fit children in it, basically. That's what I'd say. You've got some storage. Back here, you also have the frunk storage. But this dashboard and the center console, even though the materials themselves are just like, they're just fine, the whole seems to be better than just the sum of its parts, I think because it's so minimally designed. But really, it's the acceleration, the regenerative braking. Driving is completely different now. But you do have to charge, and the heat and the cold can affect the battery's performance. Foreshadowing. Now with a Tesla, you're a little bit like, these are the best product makers in the entire world. These are the smartest people in building for our species, right? And so you expect so much. A couple huge letdowns. All the controls here are behind these touch screens. As you're driving, you're like aiming, you have to or you anchor your phone, your hand on the screen so you have your thumb right there. It's not ideal. It feels a little bit, it feels like we're not there yet. Another thing I hate is these. This is so like, you've got anything in your hand, you have to find a bunch of interesting ways of getting at it. This is too fussy. None of it feels like super luxurious. The fake wooden plastic panel, steering wheel, this little suede right here is the kind of material that actually behaves pretty well over time. One of the things I'm most satisfied with is just the simplicity of the layout. Like when you get in here, there's not a lot of moving pieces. Part of that is because all of the controls are right here within the screen. We're charging now, estimated charge time 15 minutes. I think this is our like next stop, and if we left now, we'd have 0%. I don't know. I'm worried how this is gonna go. You know what I have in the back of my head is this like, but they have this roadside assistance thing. Like I see it in the app. Maybe I'll need to use that.
Like, what's the degree of certainty on that? Is this kind of...
It's nice that it's showing me here the battery as it's projected to be when I arrive at the next charger. What's not nice is that it has changed a bit. Okay, now it's just rerouted me to a different one where I'm arriving at 52%. So this thing's thinking, it's working. My experience with superchargers so far has actually been really great. They move really fast. I don't have a high power charger at my house. It's just 110 volt. It's been fine for our family. Like I said, this is my first time road tripping. You're looking just till the next supercharger. You don't do that in a gas car. You're just planning on, you'll get gas when you need it. So this is like a very different sort of mindset, and you can kind of get some barbecue because there's a barbecue nearby.
I think these outcomes are, and how downside protected I can be, and how much I will learn, how many mistakes I can make.
Okay, here's some specs on my car. Long range, okay, this is a long range version. 7-seat interior, 19-inch Gemini wheels. I'm a Gemini, so that works. I know our payment's like around $600 a month, which is the most that we've ever had. But if we do the math, this number here is what this car cost us, and this number here is what our previous car, a Subaru, cost us, including the gas, the average gas cost. I'm getting myself prepared here for the next stop. I might do a little bit longer and actually work on my laptop. I'll plug it into this
Bluetti battery here, which ends up being really great. It's nice to have around.
Okay, so the average ratio is about this. 2 hours of driving for 40 minutes of charging. 2 hours of driving, 40 minutes of charging. And it's really quite striking that there's this whole infrastructure of these superchargers around at least the US. You're totally like, you're held by the network. You do some eating during the charging.
Just took a little power nap.
You do a walk and talk, maybe have a phone call. For a while there, I was working, creating a little standing desk, and for 40 minutes at a time, I would edit a video. You do some yoga. I was that Tesla owner doing yoga at a supercharger. 2 hours of driving for 40 minutes of charging. 2 hours of driving, 40 minutes of charging. But this is the deal. I found that it was actually useful. It was like, it was good for my body when I got to my destination. There was a definite difference as opposed to driving like 6 hours straight, gas fill up, 6 hours straight with nothing but like little tiny breaks to piss along the side of the road. It made a difference. My body felt a little less depleted and broken when I got to my destination. But it does add a little bit of time to your trip. 445 miles so far. That's a long way to be driving to still be in Texas. But gosh, this thing feels so good to drive. It's so smooth, it's so quiet. This is point number 2. Okay, point number 1 is you're gonna have to charge it. It's gonna add a little time. It's gonna feel good on your body to get up and move around if you do that. A lot of Tesla owners just sit in the car and watch a YouTube video. Point number 2 is it is actually, for me personally, such a dream to drive. The acceleration, how smooth it is, handling. I'm not a car guy. This has made me care about my driving experience. Point number 3 is you can sleep in this thing. I'm in Arizona. There's a sense of the like sleeping thing. I'll obviously be... Hey, really quick, let me tell you about our sponsor. Pact make performance gear designed for travelers. I love this 55-liter carryall. I put stuff in here on this road trip that I probably wouldn't bring with me if it wasn't so easy to just get from the car to where I'm going. This is the ultimate road trip bag. I'm also traveling with their carry-on backpack, which I helped them design. It opens up like a suitcase. It fits in the overhead compartment. It's got lots of pocketing externally and internally, including a waterproof pocket up here where I keep my toiletries. I will link in the description and the first comment below to Pack. Using my link supports the channel. I'll obviously be moving this up to the front seat, and this pad is incredible. I'll be linking to that below. Turn on camp mode. We get to set whatever temperature that we want to keep it at, and it'll just run it. It'll run it all night. It's cold outside, 44 degrees. I'm in here. This fits great. I'm lonely. I'm lonely. It's like 4-something a.m. I set my alarm. I slept great. There's definitely a little bit of an incline, so my head here closer to the front seats is a little bit higher up than my feet at the bottom. Just barely lost any battery. So you could sleep in the Tesla, which is like, maybe that's nice when you're really burning rubber to get somewhere and you just want to stop for a few hours on the way and not pay for a hotel. And I eventually made it to San Diego, something like 1,200 miles. Spent a day there and started my trip to Northern California. And as I did so, I noticed things were a bit different in Cali. All right, so this is a first. First of all, I'm at a charging thing where there's like 100 Teslas. Second of all, it was the first time that I plugged it in and and that one there didn't work. And apparently you hang that cord over the top. Tell people like, hey man, this one doesn't work. Guy next door to me told me. Thanks, Tesla guy. Chargers in California are different. They're busy. California was beautiful. I spent some good time with my family. And on the way back towards Texas, I started messing with the auto steer feature. I've had this car for, I think, a year, and I've never really turned this feature on the entire time. And there's definitely something very different about it. So it's not gonna like get me off the freeway. It's not gonna get me through town. But when you're on a highway, it'll keep you in the middle of the lane. You just gotta kind of keep yourself, it's great. Auto steer definitely makes a difference. It keeps you in the center of the lane and it takes some of that pressure off. You do have to keep your hands on the steering wheel or at least make it known that you're around regularly, but it makes a huge difference. It does beg this question of like, how much are you gonna trust the technology?
I mean, do you already trust the robots with your banking? Is that already happening? Do you already trust the robots with lots of other stuff? But it's a big deal to put your body in a vehicle that's moving down the highway at, 80 miles an hour and to trust it. But I have trust issues, so I don't know what your life's like.
So everything up to now was in really rosy conditions. On my way to Salt Lake City, I started to get into some snow.
Okay, driving in the snow on this thing, first of all, very, very light dusting of snow, but even just a little bit can get caked up in tires that aren't snow tires. I'm going very slow. I am obviously not using any of the auto driving stuff. I'm staying close to this rumble strip in case I feel like I'm losing a little traction. That can be helpful. It was 19 degrees in some spots. Oh, it behaved really well. It's handling, it's all-wheel drive. Stoked on this for all weather conditions. Yeah, ran out of window washing fluid.
I honestly love this little front thing. It feels like a little utility spot.
All right, shit. It's gorgeous in Salt Lake with the snow on the ground and like the mountains and just getting some good coffee from 3 Cups and Holiday, staying with friends and seeing people. But I gotta make my way. Make my way back home. Just being in the place where there's snow, mountains. Oh, and I just drove here. Now it's time to hit the road and take a load. Okay. When I first set out on this journey, I really did not know what to expect. I was actually quite nervous. I just kind of trusted the Tesla infrastructure. Like, I wasn't even thinking in those terms, but there's a full infrastructure around the entire United States, it seems like. I feel like I can get anywhere in the US at least with this thing. I don't know, I feel different arriving after a trip in this Tesla because I've had these punctuated brakes from a reclined position. This thing has been a blast and it feels really reliable. It's not gonna be the way that we save the world by mining for lithium and cobalt and all sorts of shit that we need for batteries and having these expensive cars be the norm. It's like virtue signal-y. It's just a great car to drive. It's fast. It's comfortable. Favorite thing to do on a road trip is stop and get into some cold water.
The final day of the trip, there was one leg that was right on the edge of what felt like possible.
Stay below 80 miles an hour to reach your destination. When I get there, it'll be 5%. I have to go 204 miles. I currently have 303 miles on my battery, but it's 25 degrees outside. You experience a little bit of this, you know? It's not something I'm used to with a gas car at all. I got an hour and 15 minutes left, hour and 20 minutes left, and I'll apparently arrive there with 2% battery. But I get there at 11:11. I think it's gonna work. We did it. I made it here. What did we get here with? We got here with like, I think 3%, 14 miles left on the thing. It was a little bit harrowing, you know? It was a little bit like nervous. I just drove around 70 miles an hour the entire time and it was slower than I liked. It was a longer stretch too. But now, look, we're charging at like almost 700 miles an hour. Okay, I'm here again. The same charger we started at with Cooper's Barbecue over there. What have we learned? First of all, yes, the Tesla is going to add some time to your road trip. You're going to have to get used to spending 30 to 40 to 50 minutes charging up. Driving the Tesla itself is a dream. It's so nice. Part of that is compounded by the fact that it's just me in here and I love having my alone time. But speed and acceleration, how it handles in snow and stuff. I got to test all of that. Loved it. I definitely slept in the back of this. One of the things, obviously, that makes that sleeping in here possible is the camp mode, where it keeps the same climate throughout the entire night. That was awesome. How awesome is that it's just built into the car? The auto steer definitely makes a difference. You got to ask yourself the question, how much are you going to trust the engineers and the technology, right? Hope you found this useful. Listen, if you're doing any road tripping coming up, you need to know about this bag from Pact. That's their 55-liter carry-all. This is my ultimate setup for a road trip, because this bag right here, you can just throw anything into. I basically have this thing packed with my everyday sort of accessories to life, things for making coffee, vitamins. Getting it from the car to the place that you're going is so quick and easy. I've got the backpack from Pact as well, which I helped them design. It's my favorite travel bag right now because it opens up like a suitcase. These are epic for road trip things. These are epic for any kinds of travel. So check out their 55-liter carry-all and the travel carry-on backpack from Pact. Thank you to Pact for supporting my work and independent creators. Thanks to you. Use my links below on anything that I link, because that supports the channel. And subscribe if you liked this. It helps YouTube know that this is a good video. Click like, comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye.